been over a decade since Nintendo dropped this, the 3DS. The glasses-free 3D, the dual screens, the little green light flashing when someone passed you in the street. It was magic. Fast forward to 2025, the Nintendo Switch is the king of the hill. The 3DS eShop is gone, and your old handheld might be collecting dust in a drawer. But here's the real question. Is the 3DS still worth picking up in 2025? Or is it just a relic of the past? Today, we're going to look at the history, the highs, the lows, and whether it deserves a spot in your gaming lineup in 2025. So let's go back. The Nintendo 3DS hit shelves in 2011, promising 3D gaming without glasses, and at the time it felt like the future. You had Super Mario 3D Land, Mario Kart 7, Pokémon X and Y, Animal Crossing New Leaf, Fire Emblem Awakening. The library was stacked. It wasn't just about the games, though. The thing had Street Pass, a feature where your consoles would trade little puzzle pieces and game data just by walking past another player. Yes, people actually carried those in their bags just for that. And let's not forget, it was fully backwards compatible with the DS, instantly giving it access to another decade's worth of games. And up until the Switch 2, that really wasn't a thing. Back then, its main competition was the PlayStation Vita, which, in my opinion, was a console that should have had more support from Sony in America. It had tons of support in Japan, but zero in this country. It had more horsepower than the 3DS. It had a beautiful screen, but it was missing something. The Nintendo's magic touch. And the 3DS at the time of the Vita's release, it had already sold over 75 million units before production finally stopped. But nothing lasts forever. In 2017, Nintendo dropped the Switch, and the writing was on the wall. The 3DS stuck around for a few more years, getting solid releases like Luigi's Mansion Remake, WarioWare Gold, but by 2019, new titles were rare, especially coming from Nintendo. Then, in April 2024, Nintendo officially shut down the 3DS and Wii U online services. No more online play, no more eShop. And while secondhand physical games still circulate, the 3DS slipped from Nintendo's spotlight into pure nostalgia territory. So with all that in mind, why would anyone buy a 3DS in 2025? Well, one reason is credibility. So some games are becoming legit collector's items. Fire Emblem Fate Special Edition, Pokémon Ultra Sun and Moon, and even Yokai Watch 3. Their prices are climbing every year. I'm just happy that I kept my Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon. And number two is unique games. There are titles that never made it to the Switch and probably never will because of the dual screen setup, like Kid Icarus Uprising, Tamagotchi Life, and even Fantasy Life. If you want to play them the way they were meant to be played, you will need real hardware. Modding is another big thing. The homebrew scene is alive and well, and a modded 3DS can store your entire library digitally, run fanfare translations, and even emulate old consoles like the Game Boy Advance and SNES. And the biggest one, in my opinion, is the portability. Sure, the Switch Lite is portable, but it still needs a bag. The 3DS, on the other hand, it fits right in your pocket, and the clamshell design, you don't have to worry about screen scratches in your backpack. Just a little bit of scratches on the exterior case, of course. And let's be real, there's something cozy about the dual screen setup. It's perfect for certain game styles that just don't feel the same on a single screen, especially with RPGs. You have your inventory on the second screen, you could have the map. It was functional. It was great. But of course, there are downsides. It's not all sunshine and Street Pass. The hardware availability is shrinking. Good condition systems are getting harder to find and prices are creeping up. The online play is gone. So you're just stuck with local multiplayer. And the 3D effect, it's still cool for a few minutes, but most players end up turning it off. I know for me, I turn it off after 5 minutes. For some reason, it just hurts my eyes. I don't know. And since some of these consoles are 8 to 14 years old, you might need a battery replacement, which is doable, but it's still an extra step, especially if you're not a tech-savvy individual and you just want to pick up the console and go. So here's the verdict. Should you buy one in 2025? Here's my take. If you're a collector, love Nintendo's handheld history, or you're just into JRPGs, the 3DS is absolutely worth hunting down. And most of the time, you're probably already kept yours or have already bought one because of the reasons before. It has a unique library, a passionate community, and the kind of charm that the Switch just can't replicate at this moment. I do think, though, in the next decade, we're going to be talking about the Switch in the same manner as we're talking about the Game Boy or the 3DS. But if you're looking for modern graphics, active online play, or a system that'll get brand new releases, and a lot of times you'll get the same experiences from games like Borderlands 4 that you're getting on other platforms, which again, Nintendo's history, that's not really heard of. So with all that said, you might just want to stick with the Switch or wait until Nintendo's next big thing. Either way, the 3DS isn't dead. It just moved into a sweet spot where nostalgia and niche passion keeps it alive. So the question is, do you still play your 3DS in 2025, or did you trade it in years ago? Drop your stories in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this trip down handheld memory lane, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe, as it helps me produce more content such as this. And I'll see you in the next one.